You have a 1 in 1 million chance of becoming a superstar rapper who sells millions of records. Over the course of 50 years, we've only seen a handful of superstar rappers who are considered legends, but unfortunately, what goes up must come down. These 5 rappers were legends at one point, but there was a certain point we all realized their run was over and they have now completely fallen off. Like Lil Wayne, who some put on their Mount Rushmore of greatest rappers of all time. Lil Wayne was signed to Cash Money Records at 11 years old, and over his 30-year rap career has sold over 120 million records, including physical and digital. He earned himself 5 Grammy wins, 3 #1 albums, BET Award wins, Billboard Award wins, MTV Award wins, and so many more. These awards eventually put him in the Billboard Hall of Fame. Lil Wayne's fall off wasn't entirely his own fault. In 2015, Lil Wayne filed a $51 million lawsuit against Birdman and Cash Money Records for withholding royalties and bonuses from him. On top of that, delaying his long-awaited Carter 5 album, which was meant to be released in 2014 but was delayed for a long 4 years. And after settling the lawsuit, Lil Wayne was able to be free of his contract and release the Carter 5 album, but the album was recorded years before and did not match the sound of 2018. Producers and engineers tried their best to mix the songs to sound like modern time, but it didn't work too well. Despite the long wait, the Carter 5 still went #1 and sold nearly 500,000 copies its first week. But now that Lil Wayne was out of his record deal, he had control of his masters, and over the next few years released a ton of old music and a bunch of random singles and collab albums. It was just getting clearer and clearer that Lil Wayne was falling off, but that was made a fact in 2025 when he released the Carter 6. For Lil Wayne standards, this flopped hard. It debuted at #2 and only sold 100,000 copies its first week. The initial reviews of the album were all negative. The album was just terrible, and at this point it was super clear to everyone that Lil Wayne has fallen off, and any further releases would only make his legendary career worse. But the story is different for Eminem, who is the greatest selling rapper of all time, who physically and digitally has sold over 200 million records, which blows out every other rapper by a mile. He has won 15 Grammy Awards, 17 Billboard wins, 8 American Music Awards, 27 MTV wins, even winning an Oscar for Lose Yourself. His list of accolades is just insane, and all of this put him into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Millions of fans put Eminem as the greatest rapper of all time, but in 2017, after the release of Revival, it was becoming clear this was the start of the fall off for Eminem. Everywhere you looked, this album had horrible reviews, and Eminem received more backlash than he ever has before. And one terrible album for an artist can create a domino effect. Eminem went on to release 3 more studio albums, with each one doing worse than the one before. On the critic side of things, Eminem was doing terrible, but on the sales side of things, Eminem was still doing Eminem things. No matter what Eminem releases, it's going to fly off the shelf, but it's clear to everyone that Eminem is not the same Eminem he once was. Similar to 50 Cent, who was signed by Eminem to Shady Records, 50 Cent came out the gate swinging with the greatest debut rap album of all time. This album debuted at #1, sold nearly 900,000 copies first week, and became the best-selling album of 2003, selling 6.5 million albums, which was and still is insane. 50 Cent went on to continue creating hit after hit, with his second and third albums selling over 1 million copies and nearly 700,000 copies its first week. 50 Cent at this point was cemented as one of the greatest rappers of all time, winning a Grammy Award, 13 Billboard Awards, 6 World Music Awards, 3 American Music Awards, 4 BET Awards, and so much more. But after the release of his 4th album, Before I Self-Destruct, it was clear he was falling off. This album only debuted at #5, selling just 160,000 copies its first week. And his 5th album, Animal Ambition, selling just 40,000 copies its first week, debuting at #4. Both of these albums were destroyed by critics and fans and were nowhere near as good as his first releases. 50 Cent, unlike the rest of the artists on this list, decided it's better to cement his music legacy and stop releasing music and instead go into TV and business, where he also became successful at. This was a great decision because any other album release would only taint his legendary rap career, but everyone knows after Before I Self-Destruct, it was clear 50 Cent has fallen off. But another superstar on the list is Kanye West. Over Kanye West's 20-year rap career, he sold over 130 million albums, 24 Grammy wins, BET Awards, Billboard Awards, 10 #1 albums, and was eventually put into the Hall of Fame. He's undoubtedly one of the greatest rappers of all time, but in 2022, Kanye was canceled for hundreds of controversial tweets and interviews, mainly for his anti-Semitic comments. Kanye was dropped by 99% of all the brand deals and sponsors he had and lost millions of fans. To add on top of the fall off, Kanye released Donda 2, Vultures 1 and 2, which all did horrible on the sales end of things, and on the critical side of things, each receiving terrible reviews. After his 2024 release of Vultures 1, it was clear Kanye's legendary run was over. With terrible verses and performances from Kanye, and songs that were literally not complete, Kanye created his own fall off, and from this point on, it was clear that Kanye's run was over, and his fall off is here. And finally, Will Smith. It might surprise you that Will Smith is on this list because he's mainly known as a successful actor who got on stage to slap Chris Rock, but before his acting debut, he was a hit maker in the pop rap scene. He dominated the 90s and even into the early 2000s. In just 8 years, from 1997 to 2005, Will Smith sold over 12 million records across 4 albums, 4 Grammy Awards, and plenty of AMA, VMA, and other awards. Will Smith was one of the greatest rappers of his time, and he took his success in music and did the same thing in acting with plenty of successful movies and TV shows, making him one of the most famous people alive from acting and music. After a long career in acting, Will Smith decided it's time to get back into music and release another album based on a true story, and it was just terrible. This was a huge flop that didn't even debut on Billboard and literally sold less than 1,000 copies its first week. For a guy like Will Smith, this is just embarrassing. It was pretty clear at this point to everyone that Will Smith does not cut it as an artist anymore, and his career would have been so much better off if he never released this album. But this was only a small list of 5 legends who fell off hard and probably won't be making a comeback. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe for more, and I'll see you next week. Peace.